Hello, hello, my friends. Another dedicated candle review for you today. We are going to be talking about Caramel Sunday's Cowgirl. Now, this candle, or this fragrance, I should say, will be available in only one format this coming Sunday, May 24th, for their final summer restock. And this fragrance will be available in their 4-wick, 40-ounce vessel. That does retail for $64.99. However, the candle that I'm reviewing today is obviously a lot smaller format. I did purchase this in the April restock. This is one of their 2-wick vessels that retails for $31.99. All prices, you guys, do include the cost of shipping. At this point, a lot of you guys, if you're watching this review, you might already be familiar with the brand Caramel Sundays. They are a small business based out of Monroe, Georgia, that prides themselves in 100% soy wax candles, and they are committed to using non-toxic ingredients, not only for their candles, but they also offer laundry soap, some body care. They have car fresheners. They've got all sorts of stuff. And so it's funny because I actually decided to purchase this candle last month because I believe it was in March that I purchased this fragrance in the fabric refresher. And so I feel like I'm kind of making a slow progression here in terms of acquiring a little bit more of this fragrance in my household. And we're going to talk about that, talk about maybe why I'm doing that in this review. So, the fragrance notes listed on Cowgirl are top notes of vanilla orchid, brown sugar, mid notes of Mediterranean fig and maple, and base notes of sea salt. Now, this is a fragrance that has been around at Caramel Sundays for quite some time. And a lot of people who have gotten their nose on this and are familiar with other fragrances across brands have said that this fragrance is very similar to Bath and Body Works brown sugar and fig. Now, I personally have not had that fragrance either in a candle format or in body care. So I'm going to be the first to tell you that I cannot give a positive yay or nay to that comparison. What I will tell you guys is that I do like this fragrance. This is a little bit outside of Caramel Sunday's typical wheelhouse, where they tend to really pride themselves on a lot of gourmands. We all know that the brand really, really shines, we would say probably in fall and winter, with a lot of those spicy gourmands. Even John and Sierra, by their own admission, have said that that is their favorite season. They always love like those spicy gourmand types of fragrances. They always like their house to smell like a gourmand. So it makes sense that that is the type of genre of fragrance that they seem to do exceptionally well. However, every once in a while they are, and I wouldn't say every once in a while, but they are trying to appease those who maybe don't always want gourmands with some other fragrances. And I feel like this one scratches the itch for a lot of people who don't necessarily want your house to smell like food. Maybe you do want some sweet elements to it. Maybe you prefer fragrances that are slightly more conceptual outside of the box. And I feel like this one falls into that category. Again, yes, there are some comparisons to another mass market candle. Although I will say this is just my own personal opinion, you guys. Even fragrances that Caramel Sundays has that are inspired by or are similar to paraffin wax candles, again, that we're talking like Bath and Body Works, Yankee, whatever. I will tell you that I personally like the way that Caramel Sundays tends to do them, because I can tell that the quality of their oils and the fragrance when the candles are burning just seem a lot less artificial. Um, and I really appreciate that. So going back to like what my nose is detecting here, if you are like me and prior to smelling this were unfamiliar with what brown sugar and fig smells like, what notes does my nose pick up on? I definitely smell like a green fig in this candle. I smell green fig. I do get sweetness from brown sugar in here, but again, this is not like you're like, it's not like a gourmand type of candle to my nose. The brown sugar sweetness is here, as well as a slight floral component coming from that orchid. But if you are somebody who is averse to florals, don't be afraid of this candle. That's not what I'm getting. I'm primarily getting fig and brown sugar, to be honest with you. Maple, that's also a really scary note to a lot of people. Again, in this, it's not coming across like pancake syrup, nothing even remotely like that. I will say in the base note, they do list sea salt, and there is something in here that is maybe grounding the fragrance, I would say, from becoming too sweet, from becoming too green. I think that that base note of sea salt is kind of tying all of these notes together to I would say like ground the fragrance. That's the best way that I could put it. So that way, like one doesn't get to be too much. It doesn't get to be too green or floral from that fig and the vanilla orchid, but it's also not getting too sweet with those brown sugar and maple notes. The sea salt, I think, is what's kind of just keeping this from keeping it neutral, I would say. The fragrance in and of itself is very, very pretty, and I can see why it is such a favorite with people who have been loyal to this brand for years. Now, here's the thing that I'm going to say. We're going to be talking about the strength and performance of this candle. And this is the one where I am going to give you a bit of a warning. This candle, by design, is not meant to be a smack you in the face, all encompassing type of fragrance. This is not their truffle butter cookie. This is not, I'm trying to think of some other fragrances that they have done that are just like, whoa, you know, like in your face. This is very akin, and I have said this many times, if you are familiar with personal fragrance, there are some fragrances that enter the room before a person even walks in, or like a person is present because and you don't even see them because you can smell them, right? That's not this fragrance. There are other fragrances that you have to get closer to a person to smell them. Those are oftentimes designated as skin scents, and I'm going to say that that's what Cowgirl is in if you transfer that comparison over into home fragrance. Cowgirl is more of what I would like to call a bedroom fragrance. This is a fragrance that is it's clean, it's inviting. It kind of gives, I would say to me, it kind of gives clean girl aesthetic. You know, like when that was a big thing a couple of years ago. That's kind of what this gives me. Not vanilla girl, but clean girl aesthetic. Like that, there's something about this that is very clean and refreshing without it being your typical laundry detergent or citrus based cleaner. It's relaxing, it's inviting, it's cozy. I really like it. However, the strength and throw on this one, you guys, I burn my candles in hurricanes. Burn my candles in hurricanes because soy wax does need to be hot in order to throw. But I am going to say, even in this 2-wick vessel in a hurricane in my closed concept bedroom, this is still probably, I'm going to say, around like a 5 in terms of strength and throw. It's very, at the most, it's going to be a medium. Again, I can smell it. It's present. I'm not going nose blind to it when I walk into the room, but it is definitely not a fragrance that you would expect, at least in this format, to fill up an open concept space. And again, even if I would say if you have a large master bedroom or whatever space you're wanting to burn this in, I would say that if you get the 2-wick, which of course the 2-wick is not going to be available this go around, but excuse me, this review will be up for, for all of the time I guess we have the internet, or unless I take it down. But this review will be up for a long time. So even if they bring this candle back in 2027, which I would assume they're going to do because it's very popular, it's been one that's been in their seasonal releases for the last few years. If you're looking at some point, if this is available in the 2-wick again, this is my recommendation. I would only get the 2-wick if you're planning to burn it in a smaller space and you are okay with having a fragrance that is not all encompassing, super, super strong. Believe it or not, you guys, I think in the home fragrance community, there are people who don't want to be overwhelmed with fragrance. A lot of people just like home fragrance to be a nice background scent, right? Not everybody wants it to be overwhelming. And I'm going to say, no matter where you fall on that spectrum, you like what you like and you don't need to apologize for that. That's totally fine. But I do think that it is important to like adjust our expectations, I would say, of different fragrances. And so here's what I'm going to say about this fragrance. I like it enough that I'm actually planning to purchase it in the 4-wick vessel this Sunday. It is on my wish list to go ahead and grab because I like this scent enough, but it's unique enough that I kind of want it to be like all over my house. And so I'm going to plan to purchase the 4-wick so that way I can burn the 4-wick out in my open concept living room. It will still be in a hurricane, but I am curious to see if it has a little bit more oomph or a little bit more projection in that 4-wick format. I am very, very curious. And again, because I like the fragrance enough, it's one that I'm willing to kind of like roll the dice on. I do also have 2 of these 2-wicks in my collection right now. So I figure, you know what? Then I can have a 4-wick out in my living room, and then I can always burn this 2-wick in my bedroom, and then I'll still have another 2-wick. These 2-wicks are about 18 ounces of wax, and those 4-wicks are about 40 ounces. And you can see that I'm still at, this is still a pretty full candle. Same with my other one. So I feel like, at least I can have, anyways, and my girl math is going, right? Like I have 2 of these that I can burn in my bedroom, and that will probably burn for the same amount of time that I'm going to have a 4-wick burning. So anyways, you guys, I do really like this fragrance, but I will just give you that caveat. Again, this 2-wick, it's probably about a 5 in terms of strength and throw, and that's going to be up to you, again, if you are wanting to spend the money on that. And again, for at the time that I am doing this review, this is coming right before the May 2026 restock, and this is only going to be available in the 4-wick format. But I would be curious if you purchased this in the April restock in a larger format, or if you have had this candle in a larger format. Please feel free to chime in down below in the comments section about how it has performed for you, and maybe like what kind of a space that you are burning it in. I think that that would help a lot of people if they are trying to make a determination about whether or not they want to purchase this. But I will say, overall for me, this does get 2 thumbs up, but again, it is because I did not have expectations of this one being super, super strong. I was kind of warned ahead of time that this one is just a little bit lighter fragrance profile, and so therefore do not have the expectations that this is just going to smack me in the face with fragrance. So if you liked this review, please make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Consider subscribing to my channel if you are new. And again, feel free to go over to the Carmel Sundays website to check out what all of their offerings are going to be this coming up Sunday for the May restock. No restock in the month of June. They will be back with fall scents in July. So anyways, you guys, I do want to say thank you so very, very much for spending your time here with me today. Until my next one, I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day. Bye.